Hello my wonderful ChetChatters and welcome to this masterclass on parts of speech. Today we are going to learn how to identify 9 parts of speech, right from basic to advanced level. Now I promise this class will give you something that you will not find in any other class or on YouTube or in any classroom. You're going to get techniques, clues, hacks and advanced tips that are all going to help you identify these 9 parts of speech very easily and ace any exam. Okay, we're also going to take up common mistakes and commonly confused parts of speech. Okay, I promise that by the end of this class you will write better, speak smarter and ace your exam. So let's get going. So my name is Chetna and you're on ChetChat. Now, what are parts of speech? Every word in English belongs to one of 9 categories and we call them parts of speech. Usually you're going to find 8 parts of speech, but in this masterclass we're going to learn 9. They are here on your screen. They are nouns, pronouns, adjectives, and this time we're going to include determiners. You've got verbs, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, articles and interjections. Okay, let's start with nouns. Nouns are naming words. They name a person, place, idea, thing, activity, concept, process. Anything that you can name is a noun. You already know the basics of a noun. Some examples are here on your screen like teacher, ChetChat, YouTube, Paris, school, book, computer, freedom and happiness. Now if you want the basics of noun, then take a look at this video. I'm going to drop a link below. But today we are going to take up advanced techniques to identify a noun in a sentence. Now these techniques are not just tricks. They're going to help you identify the characteristics of a noun as well. So it's a revision come techniques of part of speech. Let's take up technique number 1, which is ask these questions. Which questions? 3 questions. Who, whom or what? When you get a sentence in front of you, ask who, whom or what. And the answer to these questions is the noun. What is on the table? The laptop is on the table. Laptop is the noun. Who ate the last slice of pizza? John ate the last slice of pizza and John is a noun and he's in trouble. Whom did he give the book to? He gave the book to Leila and Leila is a noun. Great. Now for technique number 2. If a word can be counted like 1 cat, 2 books or measured like some water, a lot of happiness, then it's likely to be a noun. I have 3 pet unicorns. You can count unicorns even if they are imaginary. She drank some water. Water is an uncountable noun. Next, let's go to technique number 3. If you can see, touch or feel it, it's likely a noun. A phone is in your hands. You can feel it. The invisible dragon is sitting on the couch. Even if you can't see it, it's still a noun. Why am I giving you multiple techniques to locate a part of speech? Why is one technique not enough? English has many exceptions. So if you find a word that fits in with one technique, always double check with at least one more technique to confirm that it is indeed that correct part of speech. Don't just go blindly with one technique and be in a hurry to answer the question. Okay? Now let's look at technique number 4. Look for articles. What are articles? A, an and the. Articles often precede nouns. The mysterious sock disappeared in the laundry. Sock is the noun and my socks are forever going missing in the washing machine. A tiny purple alien stole my sandwich. Alien is the noun. Now this is a very important technique because sometimes we don't really know the meaning of certain words, but if you see an article before it, we know that it is likely to be a noun or a pronoun. Now let's say you might get a sentence like this. The quintessence of her argument was lost in the cacophony of conflicting opinions during the heated debate. Now the words are confusing, we don't know the meanings. How do we identify the parts of speech? Let's highlight the articles. The quintessence, the cacophony, the heated debate. So we think that there are minimum 3 nouns here. Let's identify them. 1 quintessence, 2 cacophony, and 3 debate. Why debate and why not heated? Because heated is an adjective. It's describing the noun debate. Now there may be other nouns too in the sentence, and if you can spot them, then drop me a line below. But let's look at some other techniques. Next we have technique number 5. If you see a word in the middle of a sentence starting with a capital letter, it will be a noun. I met Dr. Smith at the mall. Dr. Smith is a proper noun. Cool. Let's go to technique number 6. Substitute the word with a pronoun. If we can replace the word with he, she, it, you, me, we, they, etc., then it's a noun. The cat knocked over the vase. It knocked over the vase. So, cat is a noun. You can double check by asking the question, who knocked over the vase? And we know that the cat is noun because that was the answer to your question. And it is the pronoun. Words in plural forms are likely nouns. I have too many socks, but none that match. Socks is a plural noun. Naturally, with all my socks going missing in the washing machine, this is bound to happen. Okay, now for technique number 8. If you are able to add an apostrophe and make it in a possessive form, it is likely to be a noun. This is Emily's car, but she doesn't know how to drive. Emily's is a possessive noun. The cat's tail is fluffier than a cloud. Cats is a possessive noun and it's very proud. And the final one is technique number 9 is suffixes. What is a suffix? It is that small part that comes at the end of a word. Example, in the words condition, mention and position, tion is the suffix. Now these are your clues. When you look at these, we're able to identify parts of speech quite effectively. So here's a table. This is on your screen. This is going to help you. There are about 30 noun suffixes with example words. This is a complete list. You will not find it in any book or video. But in English, there are always exceptions. So don't go blindly with these suffixes. When you spot the suffix, use one of the hacks that I've shared earlier and double check if the word is a noun. This is a really long list. It will not be possible for you to remember all of it, so don't even try or your brain will fry. Just keep a screenshot of all these prints and maybe you want to save the video. Once you practice and with observation, we're going to become a pro. Great. Now let's build a table of questions. What questions? Questions that we will ask as we look at a sentence to determine which part of speech it is. We asked 3 questions to identify a noun, right? These 3 questions are here. We're going to build this table and by the end of the lesson, we are going to have a complete table of all the questions for all the different parts of speech. Okay, next let's move on to pronouns, which is our second part of speech. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, do put them down in the comments. I try to read all the comments myself and I'm going to answer them. But first, a quick shout out. This week, I'm humbled by this message from Ebdal Ethar, who, I'm sorry if I've got your name wrong. You've been an EFL ESL teacher for over 30 years and your appreciation meant a lot to me, sir. Thank you so much for your kind message. And if you want a shout out in my next video, leave me a comment below and make sure you include the hashtag ChetChatters. Okay, pronouns. So pronouns are used instead of a noun or a noun phrase. These are used so that we don't keep repeating the noun. Now we know the basics. There are 7 categories of pronouns. Here is the summary of the types of pronouns in a table. Now, since pronouns are used in place of a noun, so all the tricks and hacks that we learned for nouns can be used here too. And pronoun words are easy, like he, she, it, they, we, I, you, this, that, these, those. So in general, these are very easy to identify. But I will give you 3 techniques that we should use to be 100% certain. These techniques again are not just tricks, they'll help us understand the characteristics of a pronoun as well. Okay? Technique number 1, check if the word replaces a noun. Now, let's say you identify a pronoun in the sentence, you can guess that this is a pronoun. Can you replace it with a noun? If yes, then it's likely a pronoun. Try this sentence. Oh, a tiny purple alien danced wildly on the pizza, but it slipped suddenly. We have a doubt that the word it is a pronoun. So let's try to replace it with the alien. Oh, a tiny purple alien danced wildly on the pizza, but the alien slipped suddenly. Yes, we can. And if it works, then the word it is a pronoun. Cool. Now for technique number 2. Pronouns often come before a verb. Subject pronouns like I, he, she, we, they typically come before a verb. Example, he runs every morning. He is the pronoun that comes before the verb runs. It slipped suddenly. Once again, the pronoun it comes before the verb slipped. Notice how these techniques are not just tricks to identify parts of speech. We are learning a lot about the characteristics of pronouns and how they function in sentences. Great. Now we come to technique number 3. Let's talk about possessive pronouns versus possessive adjectives. This is where everyone gets confused. So here is a simple way to find out if a word is a possessive adjective or a possessive pronoun. Possessive pronouns show ownership without the noun. The hat is mine. Okay, this is a pronoun. Possessive adjectives show ownership with a noun. This is my hat. And since it comes with the noun hat, it's an adjective and not a pronoun. So the hack is if it stands alone, it's a pronoun. If it's followed by a noun, it's an adjective. Try these 2 sentences. That book is hers. That is her book. Now in the second sentence, her is followed by the noun book. So clearly it's an adjective. In the first sentence, the word hers stand on its own, so it's a pronoun. Here is a complete table that summarizes the differences between the possessive pronouns and possessive adjectives. And if you have any questions, put them down in the comments, and like I said, I try to answer most of the comments on my own. I love hearing from you, so make sure you talk to me. We also have a detailed masterclass on pronouns. I'm going to drop a link below, and you will get all the small to big details to completely cover the chapter of pronouns. Meantime, since we are talking of parts of speech, we need to move on to the third part of speech, how to identify adjectives. Adjectives are the describers. They are the spice of the sentence. They add flavor and detail to the nouns. The mysterious stranger left a note on the table. Mysterious describes the stranger and adds mystery and spice to the sentence. She wore a sparkling dress to the party. Sparkling, nice little mysterious spicy adjective that describes the dress. Adjectives can come before the noun, like the blue sky, or after, like the sky is blue. Now let's look at some techniques to identify an adjective in a sentence. The first technique, ask these questions: what kind, how many? If there is a word in the sentence that answers these questions about the noun, what kind or how many, then it might be an adjective. For example, she has a part-time job at the library. What kind? Part-time. He ate 3 slices of pizza. How many? 3. By the way, part-time job reminded me to ask you, are you working? Are you studying? Are you in school or are you in college? Tell me about yourself in the comments. Next, let's go to technique number 2. Ask these questions. Which one, whose, or how much? Look at these sentences. This is my book. Whose book? My book. I want that pizza. Which one? That one. She has some money. How much? Some. So these words are also adjectives. There are special type of adjectives called determiners. In fact, we have a detailed masterclass on determiners. I'll share that below. But coming back, talking about adjectives, you know that adjectives describe or modify nouns. Determiners are more specific. They specify or point to nouns. Determiners are a type of adjectives. But there is one way to tell the difference between determiners and adjectives. Adjectives can have degrees of comparison, like big, bigger, biggest. And determiners do not usually have degrees of comparison. We cannot say somest or that-er. Cool. I hope that was very clear. And now let's get on to technique number 3 of identifying adjectives. Look for words before or in some cases after the nouns. Adjectives often come before or soon after the noun that they are modifying. The red apple is juicy. Red and juicy are both adjectives. Next technique. Check if it comes after a linking verb. If you spot a verb like is, seems, feels, becomes, appears, and this describes the subject, then the word that follows it could be an adjective. She seems happy. Happy describes she and it's an adjective. Now remember, there are always exceptions in English. We know that. So when you're using these techniques and we find a word that fits in with one of the techniques, we are always going to double check with at least one more technique and then we are going to confirm it. All right? Promise? Okay. Look at these 2 sentences. The sky appears dark. It appears as though the sky is dark. Let's ask the question. What kind is the sky? The answer is dark. So in both sentences, the word dark is the adjective. Okay. Now for technique number 5. Try adding more or most. Many adjectives can be compared with more or most. The joke was the most hilarious thing I've ever heard. He turned out to be more crazy than I had imagined. Okay, that one's easy. Technique number 6, do the very test. It's similar to more and most. If you can add very before a word, it's likely to be an adjective. She is very happy. Happy is the adjective. The pizza is very delicious. Delicious is the adjective. So the hack is, if very, more or most fit, it is an adjective. Next, technique number 7. Remove the adjective and now check the meaning. If removing the adjective makes the sentence lose its description, then that word is likely an adjective. For example, he ate a giant burger. Without giant, it's just a burger. Meh. Once again, asking the question, what kind of burger, will help us confirm that indeed giant is the adjective. Now for technique number 8, watch out for adjectives made from verbs. Some adjectives actually look like verbs, but they are describing nouns. Example, the broken glass is sharp. Now broken is not a verb here, it's an adjective. The exciting movie kept me awake. You might think that exciting is an ing word and you might think that it's a verb, but it's not, it's an adjective. But how do we know this? Let's ask the question, what kind of movie? And the answer is exciting. What kind of glass is sharp? Broken glass. So we know that exciting and broken are adjectives here. Now be careful, this is where the examiner will trick you. Okay? Our final technique for identifying adjectives is technique number 9, which is suffixes. We have 2 tables for you with a full list of all the adjective suffixes and some example words. This is a complete list. Like I said, you will not find this in any book or video, but be careful. Be careful of what? Of the exceptions. When you spot the suffix, consider it as a clue. It might be an adjective. Next, use one of the hacks that we've shared earlier and double check if the word is an adjective. Example, words ending in able like readable, comfortable and reliable are all adjectives. Similarly, words ending in less like endless, fearless and careless are also adjectives. The list is very long. Don't try to memorize it. Take a screenshot and save the video, and once you practice and you observe and you do more and more, you will become a pro. And don't forget, you want to have anything answered, leave it for me as a question. Now for a very common mistake. I used the word very. So tell me, what part of speech is the word common in this sentence? Okay, now for the common mistake. Okay, be careful because sometimes nouns can function as adjectives to describe other nouns. Example, the book club meets every week. Now you may think that the words book and club are both nouns since they are naming words. But if you ask the question, what kind of club meets every week? The answer will be the book club. So the word book describes the club and book is the adjective. She bought a blue coffee mug. Blue and coffee both describe the mug. Now when you ask the question, what kind of mug, you will know. So the hack is that if a noun is describing another noun, it's functioning as an adjective. Now look at these 2 sentences. She bought a blue coffee mug. She bought a coffee blue mug. Which one is correct and why? Here's something super important. Adjective order. In English, the rules regarding adjective order are way more specific than they are in other languages, and that's why you need to say adjectives in a specific order and then it sounds right. If you mix up the order, it makes the sentence sound wrong. Even if you may say grammatically, there is no mistake. But look at these 2 sentences and tell me which of these sounds correct. A beautiful, small, old, red Italian leather racing car, or a red, round, small, beautiful Italian old leather racing car. Do you know that native speakers naturally arrange adjectives without even thinking about it? It's true. No one taught us this in school, but we all follow a secret rule without even realizing it. And we've just learnt it through listening and reading. But I'm going to teach you that secret formula, and that secret formula is called Dosa's Comp. Let's crack it together. Dosa's Comp. What is Dosa's Comp? It's the magic acronym for adjective order. Here's what it stands for. Determiner, opinion, size, age or physical quality, shape, color, origin, material and purpose. Let's play a game. Let's look at the earlier example. Can you arrange these words correctly? Here are the words on your screen and tell me, how does it fit into Dosa's Comp? Let's see. D for determiner, so A, which is the specific for one thing determiner. O for opinion, so beautiful. Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, so I may think something is beautiful, you may not, so it is an opinion. S for size, so small. A for age, old. Shape, round. C for color, red. Origin, Italian. Material, leather. And P for purpose, racing. All these are describing the noun car. And the correct answer is a beautiful small old round red Italian leather racing car. Go back to the blue coffee cup. Blue was a color and coffee was the purpose. So color had to come before the purpose, hence blue coffee cup. Now your turn. Pick an object, pick a person, an animal or anything around you. Describe it using dosa's comp and share it with me. We are going to enjoy, all of us are going to enjoy reading each other's descriptions. Okay. Now our question table needs to be updated before we move on to verbs. Here it is on your screen, and by the end of the video it's going to become one long table, okay, which has all the questions for all the parts of speech. Okay, our next major part of speech is verbs. Verbs are the action heroes of the sentence and they make things happen. For example, run, jump or write. Now verbs also tell us about the state. For example, to love, to think, to believe, seem, become. Verbs tell us about possession also, like I have a book. So let's look at the 6 techniques to identify a verb in a sentence. First technique, ask what's happened or what is the state. Now verbs express action, for example, run, jump, talk, or states, for example, seem or become. So she runs every morning. What's happening? She's running. He is happy. What's the state? He's happy. So ask the question, what is happening or what is the state? And the answer to that question is the verb. Next, we're looking at technique number 2. Look for tense markers. Now, verbs change form to show time, like past, present and future. So look for endings like ed, ing or helpers like will, has, have. She walks to school. She walked to school. She will walk to school. But don't just go by these suffixes like ed or ing. So we know that there are many exceptions and we saw one before where the ing verb was actually the adjective. Instead, try to change the tense of the word. And if you're able to change the tense, then that word is a verb. See this sentence, I celebrate. Maybe celebrate is a verb. I can test it by making it celebrating, celebrated or will celebrate. So now we can do that. We are sure that this word celebrate is a verb. Technique number 3 is the do test. If you can add do, does or did before a word, then it's likely to be a verb. She runs every day. She does run every day. He ate the pizza. He did eat the pizza. So the hack is that if do, does or did fits, it's a verb. Once again, be watchful. Don't just take this as Chetna ma'am said this is a verb, okay? Please ensure that you double check by asking some questions like what's happening or what is the state? Or even maybe some of the other techniques that we've given you, check 1 or 2 of them before confirming. Now for technique number 4, look for subject-verb agreement. Verbs agree with their subjects in number like singular or plural. The cat runs. The cats run. Now, if that word is changing based on whether it's the subject is singular or plural, then that could be the verb. Okay, let's look at technique number 5. Look for helping verbs. Helping verbs often team up with their verbs. For example, is, are, was, were, has, have or will. Or even modal verbs like can, could, should, would, may, might, ought, must, will, shall, etc. She is running. They have eaten. He can talk. Now, if the word is paired with a helping verb, it's likely that the main verb is a verb. Our final technique number 6 is suffixes once again. I've got a table for you. It has a full list of verb suffixes with some example words. Pause the video, you know what to do. And now let's look at one special case, which is phrasal verbs. A phrasal verb is a combination of a verb plus a preposition or a verb plus an adverb. And it creates an entirely new meaning. For example, look plus after becomes look after. Give plus up becomes give up. So she looked after her little brother. This is nothing to do with looking. He gave up eating junk food. He didn't give anything to anyone. I ran into my ex at the grocery store. It does not literally mean that I was running. Basically, if the combination of a verb plus preposition or verb plus adverb creates a new meaning, it's a phrasal verb. Okay, time for our question table on your screen, and if you have any questions then you can ask me below. But on your screen we have the list of questions that you ask to confirm that it's a verb. And our next part of speech is adverbs. Adverbs are modifiers. They are the ninjas of grammar. They transform things around them. They describe or modify verbs, adjectives, other adverbs, or even a full sentence. They tell us how, when, where, or to what extent something happens. Some examples are quickly, very often, okay? I quickly scooped up Simbi as she tried to run on the road. The adverb quickly describes the verb scooped up. Let's look at techniques to identify an adverb in the sentence. These are not tricks, okay? They also teach us about adverbs, what they do, what are their unique characteristics. Let's look at first technique number 1, ask questions. How, when, where, to what extent, how often. How? She ran quickly. When? She arrived yesterday. Where? They went outside. To what extent? She's very happy. Very is an adverb because it tells us the intensity or extent of something. Now, very can also be an adjective if it describes a noun, but see this sentence. The very thought of running very quickly makes her tired. The first very is an adjective since it describes the noun thought. The second, very quickly, is an adverb since it describes the verb running. Let's look at how often. She always eats breakfast. Words like always, never, sometimes, often, they're adverbs of frequency. So, adverbs can modify verbs, adjectives, other adverbs, or even the full sentence. But the hack is, if it answers how, when, where, or to what extent, and how often, then it is an adverb. Let's look at technique number 2. Some adverbs add context or emotion to the whole sentence. Example, fortunately the rain stopped before the picnic. Thank goodness. Sadly, the pizza was all gone. Tragic, I know. So remember that if it sets the mood for the whole sentence, it's an adverb. Now let's look at technique number 3, which is suffixes. Look for words ending in ly. Many adverbs, but not all, end in ly. Some examples are here on your screen. But there are exceptions. Some adjectives also end with li, like friendly, lovely, elderly. So if you see a word ending in ly, ask one of the questions. And if it answers like a how, when, where, or to what extent, or how often, then it's an adverb. If it answers which one and how many, then it's an adjective. A nice one is technique number 4. I call it the move it test. I like this technique. It's something which you're not going to find anywhere else. Now, adverbs can often be moved around in a sentence without changing the meaning. Let's take an example. She quickly ran to the store. She ran to the store quickly. Fortunately, the rain stopped. The rain fortunately stopped, or the rain stopped fortunately. Now, if you can move it around, the hack is that it's likely to be an adverb. And now for a common mistake, which is the confusion between adverb versus adjective. She drives a fast car. Fast modifies car, which is a noun. She drives fast. Fast modifies drives, which is a verb. So if it describes a noun, you know it's an adjective. If it describes the verb, adjective or adverb, then it's an adverb. Look at this news headline and let's see if we can identify the part of speech. How the Trump-Zelensky talks collapsed in 10 fiery minutes. What collapsed? Talks. So it's a noun. Which talks? The Trump-Zelensky talks. Also follows an article. Trump-Zelensky is the adjective because the Trump-Zelensky talks. What happened to the talks? Collapsed. Verb. The is an article. How is an adverb. In is a preposition. Minutes is a noun. How many minutes? 10. An adjective. Which kind? Fiery. Adjective. Just go word by word by word and ask the questions and you will get the answers easily. Now, before we move to prepositions, which is our next part of speech, let's put the question table, right? So we have the question table here. It's kind of building up, and at the fag end of the video, you're going to find a full table of all the questions for all the different parts of speech. The next part of speech is prepositions. Prepositions are the GPS for sentences. They show the relationship between a noun and a pronoun and another word. And they connect these words by answering questions. Which questions? Where, when, and how. I am sitting on a chair beside a table. It's showing the relationship between me, the table, and the chair with regard to where they are. Now, prepositions can show place, time, direction, manner, and sometimes even purpose. Here's a quick table on your screen which tells you all the different uses that we have for prepositions. We have, by the way, a complete masterclass on prepositions, and I'm going to share that link with you. But today, we are going to learn some amazing techniques for you to be able to spot prepositions like a detective. Okay? Technique number 1, ask where, when, or how. Example, where? The cat is on the roof. We'll meet at noon. When? Okay? She solved the puzzle with ease. How? With ease, like a boss. Hack. If it connects words by answering the question where, when, or how, it's likely to be a preposition. Okay. Technique number 2, look for objects. Prepositions always have an object. What is an object? A noun or a pronoun. The cat jumped onto the couch. Couch is an object. He laughed at the joke. Joke is the object. She traveled with her best friend. Friend is the object. Now look at these 2 sentences and tell me what is the difference. He fell down. He fell down the stairs. In the first sentence, where did he fall? Down. So down is an adverb. Where did he fall? It's describing fall. So in the second sentence, the word down shows the relationship between fell and stairs. It again answers the question where. Where? Down the stairs. But here it is a preposition. Now both adverbs and prepositions are answering the same questions. Where, when, and how. So what is the difference between them? A preposition will always be followed by an object, a noun or a pronoun. Okay? An adverb does not have an object. It stands alone. For example, she walked up the stairs. Up plus stairs is the object. So it's a preposition. She walked up. There's no object. It just describes the action. So here's the difference. Adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs, but they always stand alone. Prepositions show the relationships between a noun and a pronoun and another word in the sentence, and they always require an object. Now for technique number 3, the box test. Imagine a box. If the word can describe something's position relative to the box, then that word is a preposition. The cat is in the box. The dog is under the box. The bird is above the box. So the hack is, if it fits the box test, it's a preposition. Once again, Be careful when you're using these techniques. You must try to use at least 2 techniques if you're in doubt, okay? Now, technique number 4. Can we move it test? Remember we said that adverbs can be moved around in a sentence. Prepositions can't be moved around in a sentence without changing the meaning. She sat on the chair. She sat the chair on. Nope, that's just weird. Adverb, she ran out. Out she ran. Preposition, she ran out the door. You cannot move the word out. Now this is another difference between adverbs and prepositions. If it can be moved, it's an adverb. If it cannot be moved, it's a preposition. Okay, so now we know that prepositions are followed by an object which is either a noun or a pronoun. Do you know the special name for this entire set of words collectively, like the preposition plus the noun plus the pronoun? Let me know. It is called a prepositional phrase. This is one advanced part of speech. A prepositional phrase is a group of words that starts with a preposition and ends with that noun or the pronoun which is the object. Okay, so the preposition plus its object is the prepositional phrase. So how to identify prepositional phrase? Their structure is preposition plus the object, okay, in the house, on the table. What is their function? They describe when, where and how or which one. The book on the table is mine. On the table is a prepositional phrase. It has a preposition on plus the noun table. She ran to the store. Now, in the first sentence, if we ask the question, which book, we know it is the one on the table. In the second sentence, if we ask the question, where did she run, the answer is to the store. So, prepositional phrases can function as adjectives or adverbs in a sentence. The cat in the box is sleeping. Which cat? The one in the box. The word in is a preposition, but the prepositional phrase in the box acts like an adjective in this sentence. He arrived after dinner. When did he arrive? After dinner. Now the word after is a preposition, but because we know since it's followed by an object which is a noun, dinner. But the prepositional phrase after dinner acts like an adverb in the sentence. I hope this is becoming very clear since it's a common mistake in exams. Okay. Now, before we move to conjunctions, which is our next part of speech, let's put the question table up. This is on your screen, and like I said, at the end of this video, you're going to find a comprehensive question table. Next, we are talking about conjunctions. Conjunctions are the glue that holds long sentences together. They could connect words to words, phrases to phrases, or clauses to clauses. And, but, or, because. Now, like all other parts of speech, we have a complete masterclass on conjunctions. Also, I'm going to share that link below. But today the focus is to learn some amazing techniques for you to spot conjunctions like a detective. Okay. Technique number 1. Look for connectors. Conjunctions connect words, they connect phrases, they connect clauses. They are the ultimate matchmakers of grammar. I like pizza and ice cream. She wanted to go, but it was raining. You can have cake or you can have cookies. Tough choice. The hack is that if it's connecting things, it's likely a conjunction. Usually conjunctions are connecting clauses to each other. Remember that, okay? Next one is technique number 2, the fanboys test. The most common coordinating conjunctions are fanboys. Yes, it's a very cute name and it's easy to remember. Fanboys is for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. I wanted to go to the party, but I had homework. She studied hard, so she aced her test. Hard work does pay off. You can have tea or you can have coffee. Decisions, decisions. Okay, technique number 3. The can we split it test. Conjunctions can often be replaced by a comma or a semicolon. I like pizza and I like ice cream. I like pizza, semicolon, I like ice cream. She wanted to go, but it was raining. She wanted to go, it was raining. So the hack is, if you can split the sentence into 2 clauses, then that connector is probably a conjunction. Okay, now for some common mistakes. Many students are confused between a conjunction, a preposition and an adverb. Look at the word after. Is it a conjunction, a preposition or an adverb? Here are 3 sentences. She left after the movie. She left after the movie ended. He left before the movie ended and she left after. In sentence number 1, after is followed by a noun, which is the object. Therefore, the word after is a preposition. In sentence number 2, after is followed by a clause and it can be replaced by a comma. She left, comma, the movie ended. So here the word after is a conjunction. Sentence number 3 has no object. The word after just describes the action left. So it is an adverb. This is very important. Let's look at this in detail. There are a few rules for this. Rule number 1, a preposition is always followed by a noun or a pronoun, which is the object of the preposition. A conjunction connects clauses and adverb describes the verb or the adjective or even another adverb, but it stands alone without an object. Second rule, can we replace it with a comma? In this sentence, she left after the movie ended. She left, the movie ended. The word after can be replaced by a comma, so it's a conjunction. She left after the movie. Now, you cannot replace it with a comma, so it's a preposition. Adverbs also cannot be replaced by a comma. So, I hope this is very clear to you by now, but if you have any questions, put them down and I'll make sure that I answer each one of your questions. And now we're moving on to our 8th part of speech, which is articles, a and the. Articles are very easy to identify and there are only 3 articles. The indefinite articles a and an, they used to refer to something general or non-specific. She bought a dress, an umbrella and a unique necklace for the party. Use an before words that start with a vowel sound. What are vowel sounds? A, E, I, O, U, the sound. An apple, an hour, an umbrella. Use a before words that start with consonant sounds. What are consonants? All the 26 letters of the alphabet minus the vowels A, E, I, O, U are consonants. Example, a book, a cat, a university. Even though university starts with a vowel U, but it sounds like university with a Y. So now you already know this. We're going to go over this very quickly. The definite article the is used to refer to something specific or already known. I visited the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre Museum and the Seine River during my trip to Paris. Now we have a detailed masterclass on articles and how they are used. So you must watch that later, and we're going to go on to the 9th part of speech, which is interjections. Interjections are the emoji of grammar. They express emotions, reactions or sudden bursts of feeling. They are short, punchy and full of energy. Once again, these are easy for you to spot, and here are some techniques that you can be like very sure using these techniques that this is an interjection. First technique, look for an emotion or reaction. So interjections would express a strong emotion like surprise, joy, anger or pain. Example, wow, that's a huge pizza. Surprise. Ouch, I stubbed my toe. Pain. Yay, we won the game. Joy. So if there's a sudden outburst of emotion, it's likely to be an interjection. Technique number 2 is an easy one. Check for the punctuation. Interjections are usually, not always, followed by an exclamation mark or a comma. Examples: oh no, I forgot my keys. Well, that was unexpected. You can have a comma when there's a milder reaction. The next technique is can we remove it test. Now, interjections can often be removed from the sentence without changing the meaning of the sentence. Let's take an example. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing still makes sense. Oh, I see what you mean. I see what you mean still makes sense. So if you can remove it and the sentence still works, then the word that you've just removed is likely to be an interjection. And technique number 4, the standalone test. This interjection can often stand alone as a complete expression, like oops. Okay, you're talking about a mistake. Bravo, if you're talking about applause, or ew, if you're expressing disgust. But once again, I'm saying don't blindly follow any of these techniques. Always confirm, is it expressing a strong emotion? Is it followed by an exclamation mark or a comma? Can we remove it? Can it stand alone? If it's a yes, 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 then it is an interjection. Wow! So that's all. Fantastic. Wow, super, yippee. All parts of speech in a complete masterclass. And if you have any questions, remember, put them down in the comment section and I will get to you. Here is a complete table of all the questions for all the 9 parts of speech. And here is a link that you're going to find for our complete grammar course that you must go back and watch, because this one was, while it was a long class, it was just about parts of speech. So there it is. Share this with your friends. Happy learning and see you next Friday.